Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
Nah. Yes. I do say good evening.
If you're going to be doing a Matt Berry impression the entire episode, we're going to stop right now.
Nah.
Before we get things going today, I just want to remind everyone that if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to us in your favourite podcasting app of choice. We have new episodes every single Wednesday, as well as bonus episodes every other weekend, so make sure that you're tuning in for those. Follow us on all of our social medias, they're down in the links below. But Brian, we're here today to talk once again about another TV show. We're going to be talking about What We Do in the Shadows.
I do say the storm has quite lifted.
The storm has passed. If there are any noises, it's the same storm as the last 2 weeks. It's still going on here, the third week in the row. So if there is any wind or rain or anything like that, that's what it is, so please ignore it.
Yes.
So yeah, we're here to talk about the TV series, not the film, the TV series, What We Do in the Shadows, which is a show that came to an end in the last couple of weeks. Six seasons.
Indeed.
It was a show that I hadn't watched at all. You watched it initially. I had seen the movie from years ago and just had never picked up on the show. And you were like, no, you need to watch this. You need to watch this. Even so much so that I was over at your house and you go, no, sit down there. We're going to watch an episode. And we just watched the first episode. And I was like, all right, okay, yeah, no worries. And then you came to me like 2 weeks later and we were like, did you watch any more episodes? And I was like, Brian, I'm ahead of you now. I've watched more episodes than you. Like, you were in the middle of your watch. I think you were on maybe like season 3 or 4. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I just started season 5. Like, I just like blazed through it. I was like, going.
Quite right. You propelled yourself into the distance of the viewing and all that.
Brian, you really are the most devious bastard in all of New York City.
That's all I wanted you to do.
You're waiting on me to join in.
I just wanted you to do that. I don't think I'm that good of a Nandor impression now.
A Laszlo impression, yeah. No,
I was doing a Nandor.
Oh,
now.
Nandor.
Yeah, I moved on to Nandor. Gilmore, close the door. Says close, master. Close it more. He proceeds to open the door and shut it again. Yeah. What you just said there. If you told me, Brian, go watch any random 3 episodes throughout the show of What We Do in the Shadows. Any 3 random. You can actually pick them for me. It can be the worst ones, even. Any 3 random ones out of any season, out of order or in order. I would take those over watching the movie. I think the show is a few miles way better than the movie now. And it's nothing really to do with the plot. The plot is irrelevant.
Plot is irrelevant, absolutely. For anyone that doesn't know, and if you're listening to this, why, without knowing what the show is a mockumentary.
What do we do in the shadows?
It's a mockumentary style show, similar vein to The Office, of like cameras documenting what's going on, but it's about 3 vampires living in Staten Island in New York City, and their familiar and their other roommate as well, as
their other roommate, Colin Robinson.
That's a good one. That's probably your best one so far. But their day-to-day goings on, or night-to-night goings on, and the not the challenges they face, but just like kind of a predicament of the week, or like there are general kind of arcs over each season.
Yes.
But like you can stick on any episode, and
it's yeah. So you concur?
I concur. Yeah, I think that while I love the movie, and you have to acknowledge the movie, that without it the TV show doesn't exist.
Just like Taken 1 and Taken 2?
No, you can't have Andor without having Rogue One.
Yeah, well, okay. That was a bad example. But yes, I do know what you're saying. Like, acknowledge the royalty, but it doesn't dictate what's better.
No, but any time that any of those characters from the movie turned up, it was a nice little treat.
Yeah, it was a nice treat.
To acknowledge, oh yeah, no, it's all taking place within the same world, and it.
I think Taika Waititi is on record saying, yeah, I think the show went on for too long.
Oh really?
I think he said that.
Maybe we can get into that a little bit later.
I've often felt that it's Jemaine Clement who's spearheading the show.
Yeah,
I think it's him who's sort of putting more force behind it than
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, and the other guy, the third guy as well, who is friends with Taika Waititi. Like, what is that guy doing?
Yeah, I've never seen him turn up in anything else. He was the third. What was his name? Deacon.
I can't remember.
I think it was Deacon.
I was also thinking, like, how do these 3 vampires in the movie compare to the 3 vampires in the show? Like, who is the counterpart to each other? And I can't exactly say there is one.
Oh, no, there is.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, right. Well,
Taika Waititi's character is very much the Nandor, and Jermaine Clement's character is very much the Laszlo. But there is no Deacon. Deacon is replaced by Nadja.
okay, I can see where you're coming from. But Nandor, he's not nice, unlike Taika Waititi's character.
Oh
He's,
yeah, no.
like,
Listen, they're very.
they're-
When I
they're-
say
they're-
they're
not-
comparable,
yeah.
like they start out like you go back and watch the first episode. All of the characters are very different to how they end up. You go back and watch, right? Nadja is a completely different character, season 1 to season 2.
Oh, she's a bitch.
She is a like emotionless, just sick of these other characters, doesn't want anything to do with them. She doesn't really have any funny lines. It's all just very like, she's like the straight character. Then season 2 comes around and she opens up completely. She wears her hair different. She wears different outfits. She is very much a part of the group and like having individual stories and having fun. And
I like that they also
the
introduced,
personality.
once they introduced the doll,
my little dolly.
I can't even do an impression of Nadja without being given a line of dialogue, or else I'm just going to waffle and catch myself and get all flustered. So I'll just not do it.
I'm just a vampire, babes. I love it. Anytime that Nadja says babes, I fall more in love with her.
Thank you for saving us, but sorry, you're a mortal enemy. You got to die, babes.
She is my spoiler. She is my favorite character over the whole show.
No
I
way,
love
really?
Nadja. Yeah,
Those are them's fighting words.
yeah. Well, I mean, it can very easily also be Laszlo. I think for a lot of people, it's Laszlo.
Oh, it's definitely Laszlo.
But I'd say for me, it probably goes like, if I had to order them, I would say like Nadja, followed by Laszlo, followed very, very closely by Jackie Daytona. Jackie Daytona.
And I do say, under the scars, the toothpick.
For anyone that doesn't know, Jackie Daytona is Laszlo, but in his human disguise.
Here in disguise.
I now go by the name of Daytona, Jackie Daytona. And I'll tell you something, Jackie Daytona's life, it ain't so bad.
And
For
then
I am Jackie Daytona.
followed them by Nandor.
Nandor, yeah. Nandor De Laurentiis.
Nandor De Laurentiis.
I was very ferocious soldier in the Ottoman Empire, which meant a lot of killing, a lot of pillaging. People would say, please, don't pillage me. And I would say, no, I'm pillaging everyone, you included. I was relentless. They would call me Nando the Relentless.
This episode is very much just going to be a lot of like references.
Oh yeah,
probably.
there's no other way to talk about it. Like what happens? Like what are the arcs throughout the thing? Like we could talk about the character arcs, but what about the story arcs? There's none really. Like there's one.
No, I think that there are a lot of arcs throughout the show, like in that of kind of
Gilmo killing off vampires that
Giz-
are trying to Gizmo. You were about to call him.
I call him, his name is Gizmo.
You call him Gilmo. His name's Gilmo. Gilmo de la Cruz.
Gizmo.
Don't give a fuck about your name. We had to do a laundry. Remember that?
Yeah. No, like him realizing. So Guillermo, all right. Let's go character by character.
All right,
Okay,
yeah.
rather than any kind of plot details or anything like that, because over the course of the whole show, there's multiple different arcs, and it's a comedy show, and like that, it's a very week to week kind of show. There's no real. You can just turn it on and watch whenever you want.
Yeah.
So we'll go by a character that is said. So we'll start with the familiar Guillermo. Gizmo.
He is the main character.
He is the audience surrogate, absolutely.
Yeah.
He is the familiar, the character that we're introduced to. He does all the chores for the vampires because he has been promised by Nandor that Nandor will make him into a vampire.
Yeah.
Someday. But as the show starts, it starts on Guillermo's 10th anniversary of being a familiar. And he's like, I think tonight might be the night. And no, of course not.
Yeah. What he thinks Guillermo.
Do you think I forgot about what day it is today?
I got you a gift. I made you a vampire in the gift.
And like Guillermo's always like just pulling like opening up his neck,
Yeah.
like ready to be bitten, and it's a macaroni or like glitter.
and all for your service of 2 years, 10 years. And he goes 10 years? Like he's actually,
He can't believe it
He can't
himself.
believe 10 years. Okay. as if him being his familiar for 10 years is an insult in itself for how Nandor perceives Guillermo to be as a poor familiar. But obviously Nandor's standards are just ridiculous, you know? And like in the first episode, he tells Guillermo to strike down the shopkeep, and he says, "Oh, I tried to, I can't, but I failed," because he just doesn't want to kill someone, even though he hides bodies and he brings victims back to be drained from blood.
Yeah, he has no problem being the accomplice to it all and
Yeah.
dealing with it, but the actual act of killing is against
But
against
the
his
type
nature.
of relationship Guillermo was under Nandor's, you kind of just disobeyed me just now, and I'm noting it. You know,
Like, it's almost like anything that Guillermo does adds, it's like one step forward to becoming a vampire, but anything negative he does is like 10 steps back.
Yeah.
It's always Nandor saying, I was getting around to it eventually, I'm gonna make you a vampire someday, any day now. It's always on the long finger.
he never does get around to it though, like ever, really.
No, there's never even really an indication that
He willingly
soon,
does it. No.
It's
And I've often found that like he never wanted him to be a vampire, not because he's looking out for his best interest, but well, we don't really know. Like, you can sum it up with that he does have his best interests at heart, and maybe at a certain point in the show he does, because he says it. Guillermo, is this really what you want? And he says no. And this is after he was bit by Jared.
Yeah, well, so over the course of the show, he obviously starts out as the familiar, and then we find out that after doing a DNA test, that was one of the episodes that, like, just a regular episode, they all do DNA tests, see if they have any ancestors.
I think it was
or
actually
anything.
the final episode of season 1.
Could have been.
Yeah.
And they find out that Guillermo is a descendant of Van Helsing, who was a famous vampire killer.
And it's just a throwaway joke.
Throwaway joke that over the course then of the next few seasons, Guillermo is a full-on vampire killer, and like he just has these natural instincts, and he's a guy that wouldn't have the stature of like a vampire killer.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, he's able to pull off these incredible feats of like acrobatics and pinpoint accuracy with throwing stakes. And
He's even capable of taking on Nandor.
yeah, he fights other vampires, and over the course of kind of seasons there, like vampires start dying,
Yeah.
and our vampires, the main trio, are accused of being the vampire killers, and they're like, no, it was Guillermo, and everyone looks at him and is like, no, it couldn't possibly be, you're lying.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then as the seasons progress, one of Guillermo's friends is turned into a vampire, and Guillermo just gets sick of it and says, okay, turn me into a vampire.
Yeah.
And so then
That was left at a cliffhanger as well.
that was at the end of season 4, and then season 5 is all about Guillermo being a vampire, and we learn over the course of that season that it's taking a much longer time to become a vampire. Like, he's ever so slowly,
because his genetics are fighting it.
that's something we find out. Yeah, like that. Laszlo finds out that he's a vampire.
I like the
and-
way
and
I
helps.
like the way he tells him. He tells Laszlo, and he says, you have to tell your master. And he says, I can't do that. No. Well, then you're fucked.
Yeah, he'll tell you how it is. Laszlo
Yeah.
tells you how it is, but he helps him over the course of the season and does experiments and everything like that, to try and figure out why is it taking so long, and can you be bitten twice, and what happens if you're bitten twice, and stuff like that. And then it's only at the end of the season does Nandor then say, no, it's because he's a Van Helsing. His Van Helsing DNA is fighting off the vampirism. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's
as
what
a season arc.
I thought that's what would have been it.
And it was like, have you had him drink blood? And they're like, no, we didn't think of that, actually. As soon as he drinks the blood, he's fine. He turns into a full vampire and like completely changes.
Guillermo,
yeah.
But he doesn't stay a vampire.
No, he doesn't stay a vampire. So when it comes to him having to actually kill someone,
Yeah.
that's when he starts to really like, I don't think I can do this. And so they're able to reverse they kill the guy that turned him into a vampire, which
Jared. How did he die
Derek.
again? Derek, yeah.
they kill him. They just stab him.
They just stab him.
Yeah. Because when you're the vampire that turned you dies, you don't die as well, but what you do is your body ages up to meet what your actual age should be.
Yeah.
So they kill Derek, and Guillermo just ages a month. So he just like grows a big beard and like long hair. So he ages up a month. Oh, you've only been a vampire a month. It's fine.
Yeah.
So you're fine. And then like, so that's like the end of season 5, but then season 6, because he obviously doesn't want to be a vampire anymore, it doesn't. He's not their familiar, so he's just kind of he's still a character.
Yeah.
But he has his own storyline, and that's...
But isn't it interesting that this whole time, up until this point now, Nandor is respectful of that. Mm-hmm. He's like telling other people or other vampires, no, he's not our familiar, he's just our friend, he's here. Like,
he acknowledges that, no, he's still a person, we still want him around in our lives.
Like, it's been a long journey to see the development in Nandor appreciating Guillermo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think the first sign of it where he shows care is when that familiar who played by Haley Joel Osment. Yeah, when that zombie is drowning Guillermo and in comes Nandor to save him. Mm-hmm. And he said his excuse was your whining woke me from my slumber. Mm-hmm. But he stepped in to save him. Mm-hmm. And then didn't Guillermo fall through the floorboards and into like water?
Yeah.
And then what is first thing Nandor does? Hold on, Guillermo, I'm coming! And he comes in to save him.
Mm-hmm. And he invites Guillermo to go on the travels as well.
Yeah.
That's the only time that he comes close to, I suppose, turning him into a vampire is after they have a fight. He was like, I only didn't turn you because you weren't a warrior, but come with me on my trip. I'm going back to my homeland, and there in Al Kalandar I will turn you into a vampire. Do you know, so he does have the intention of him, and he respects him now.
Yeah.
You know, so there is development over the seasons, all right, and it's nice to see that at the end. You know, it's not as simple as him going, oh well, you're a vampire, tough luck. Do you know, this is what you wanted. He does respect his wishes and turns them back.
Did you feel the threat when you thought Nandor was gonna kill Guillermo's family?
No, I think it's very rare that the show actually goes into really dark places. Like, it is, at the end of the day, it is a comedy.
Yeah, to take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Even though we see bodies and people dying and...
Yeah, but they're ancillary victims of, you know, non-named characters. But, like, I think it'd be a bit far now to be, I'm going to murder your family because someone else turned you into a vampire. I did never take it that seriously.
Yeah, where do we go? Like, there's just so many great random episodes. Like, it was a great episode to see the souls of their human side. You know,
they're ghosts. That's where we're introduced to Nadja's spirit. That's how we have another character. We'll talk about, I suppose... No, I was going to say we'll talk about Nadja, but do you want to just talk about Nandor because we're on him now?
Well, yeah, no, that's what I mean. We're on Nandor.
Yeah.
Like there was... You remember when he was all about how high he can fly, and he loved the LGBT parade. He liked trying to remove his fangs and live a normal life.
There was a few times Nandor goes through a lot of the, like, wanting to experience different things, not just being a vampire.
And do you remember when he got a genie as well?
He has a djinn and he wants to find love. Like, that's a big aspect for Nandor throughout the whole show, is trying to find love. And he does that through, he gets a djinn and wishes for all of his dead wives to come back, all 42 of them. And he's like, I remember really loving one of them. I just can't remember which one. And he, like, by process of elimination, like, you know, gets rid of them all. But he does that. He has his ex-girlfriend comes back into it, the one that, like, is a half werewolf as well.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's, you know, when he wants to become human, he goes to work at the place that Guillermo goes to work at in the last season as well.
Yeah,
like,
and I like when he's a janitor and he's very proud of it, and he's going around. How does he clean with the blue roll? He just gets the
whole blue roll. Yeah. People don't like their coffee cold, so I throw it away when it's hot. But he definitely has the most kind of human aspects to him of all of the vampires.
He's the villain name in the credits as well.
Yeah, he is the main
and
name.
And he was a warrior.
Nandor the Relentless.
Nandor de Laurentiis. That was a funny joke as well. It was just the naivety of them all, especially Nandor. Like, he is stupid.
Yeah. I mean, the common solution to any of their problems is hypnotism.
Yeah.
You know, so much so that they give an explanation as to hypnotism. It's like, you can only hypnotize someone so much, otherwise they start to get brain scramblies and stuff like that. You know, like, they have their own lore, I suppose, within the show of like, here's what we refer to this aspect of it.
I like just on the familiar aspect, it's interesting that they made the familiar a main character in the show when the familiar in the movie was just a throwaway thing.
Very much so.
Isn't that like that's an interesting aspect to build upon something that was established. Mm-hmm. And then again, the hypnotism, because when Taika Waititi did it in the movie, it was, I guess that's a thing now. Mm-hmm. And it's just ever present. But Nandor is supposed to not be as good at hypnotism as the likes of Laszlo or
no, Laszlo's not good at it. Nandor or Nadja are good at it.
Oh, I thought
Laszlo's not.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Sorry, I must have mistaken that. But yeah, I don't know, I'm content with that. Do you want to talk about Nadja or Laszlo? Or...
Let's talk about the two of them, because they're a couple.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like that they changed up a little bit from the movie and having a female aspect to it.
Oh, yeah.
Because one thing that...
It wouldn't make it interesting then, otherwise. You needed it.
Yeah, you need to have the female energy. And I, like I said at the top of the show, I love Nadja so much. I love her feminine energy and the way that she... Like, they talk very sexually as well in the show. Do you know, like, whenever she's talking to Laszlo and stuff like that, oh, my big dick husband and stuff like this, do you know, or when she's walking away and, like, the ghost of Laszlo's dad is thinks she's a prostitute, and she turns around, did you think I was a little fucking tart? Do you know, like, all this stuff. And they're very open about sexuality, and, like, or, like, even in the first episode, when the Baron is coming to visit.
Yeah.
And they talk, when it's a piece to camera, and Nadja's like, the Baron and I had a very torrid affair. It was very flexible, very aerobatic, so I'm not sure how it's going to be when Laszlo... when him and Laszlo see each other, cut to a piece to camera with Laszlo, and he's literally saying, I've had a very torrid affair with the Baron, saying exactly the same thing, but at the end of it, he's like, so I can't wait to see him. Do you know, like, they're very over the whole course of the show, it's a very, very sexually open show.
Yeah.
And not just in having sex and stuff like that, but the way the characters are either gay or bi or
they just fuck
pansexual,
fuck anything.
They will fuck anything and everything.
I mean, who isn't gay?
A lot of people.
Oh, okay, woohoo! I'll get the trumpets out, sorry.
They're just so open about all their sexuality. Guillermo is gay. Laszlo and Nandor will openly say, like, well, do you fancy a go? Like, even though Laszlo and Nadja are married.
Oh, what was the one scene where the lads were all trapped and in come Nadja to save them? And what was the lads are trying to...
they're being held by the witches,
They're trying to differentiate the looks between a female vampire, and Nadja is going, what? My husband Laszlo, you can know when you've laid with me in bed, and I'm sorry, my darling. Like, when I see you,
you'll have to raise a hand. I can't tell who's speaking right now. It's like, this is just a girl with long black hair. I'm sorry, who's speaking right now? You know,
she go, I can't believe it. She's actually shocked at the fact.
But yeah, you know, in that first season as well, she is trying to meet up with one of her deceased lovers as well. Yeah. You know, like, there's no issue with that. Or one of my
Gregor,
Gregor,
name Jeff or Jesk.
Jesk, yeah, his name's Jeff, but she just can't get the word out.
Really, Jeff?
Jesk.
Oh. Gregor. He's not answering because that is not his name.
No, one of my favourite moments is when Guillermo is in the hotel room and Nadja comes in. This is when he's on the run from Nandor.
Yeah.
And when Nadja comes into the room and you can hear on the other side of the wall the two people having sex. And she is there like, oh, okay, they're really going for it. This is getting a bit distracting. And then, like, later on, she's like, I've had enough of this, fuck this. And she goes in there and you think she's going to go start screaming and shouting or kill them or something. And then all of a sudden you hear that she's joined in. She's just like, I'm just going to join in as well, you know. It's just so open with its sexuality throughout, and I think that's
verbally anyway, and through.
Oh yeah, you're not.
It's
seeing,
implications. Of course.
It's not a show where you see blood and all that, and a bit of fight choreography and stuff like that, but you're not seeing naked bodies or anything like that.
I also like how they just over exaggerate how someone vomits.
Oh yeah, it spews out like a sprinkler system.
Yeah, but right. Like obviously they give the actor a device in holding their hand to cover themselves so they can I don't know, hold a button or a button is being pressed and it's just projectile straight ahead. Like a lot of the characters do it. One of my favourite moments with Laszlo is when he turns into a bat and he's mistaken for an actual bat he's brought into the animal shelter. And they're so proud they thought they rescued him. Laszlo, I come to save you. I rescue you, be free, and it's the bat, and like, did you not think maybe it was a regular bat? And then Lazar comes to, he wakes up in the cage, and I say, what the fuck? Where am I? I say, do release me. This is all from the security cameras as well. I think that's one of my favorite episodes. And then later on in that episode, he said, now, if we all pull together, I say we can release ourselves. Talking all the fucking cats and dogs in it, and then Nandor comes in as a dog. Leslie, I come to rescue you. What the fuck? He's in the cage as well. And then Naja comes in to let them out. They all go out. No, I have to go back. I have to release my friends. I made a gentleman's promise. He goes, releases them out. And all the cats go to him. And I say, fuck this. Release your claws, you ungrateful bastards. Everything. And I mean everything Matt Berry says is comedy gold.
It's the inflection he puts on every single thing that he says.
Putting so much emphasis on his pronunciations and dragging out the words, making them have more syllables than they actually need.
I put emphasis on the wrong syllable.
You really are the most devious bastard in New York City.
And I think that over the course of the show, with how popular of a character he is, I'm surprised that he wasn't someone that left the show early or something like that, or you know, you could see him becoming very popular and leaving the show and someone else come in to replace him or something like that. But there was at no point did I feel like, oh, they've reduced Laszlo down or something like that, or he's become too popular, he's gone to do something
never
else.
the case.
He was always throughout the show a main character, a main part of every episode. You know, he's not ever relegated to the sidelines or anything like that. And I think that is a testament to the show, that even though it's brilliant, it's so funny, it's so clever, and any of these actors could have gone on to do something else, that they're all very much a part of the show throughout.
I also love his relationship with his neighbour.
With Sean. I was gonna towards the end go to some of the secondary characters. But no, Sean, my rotten soldier, my Shawnee boy, you know, the neighbour next door that thinks that they work at the railroad.
Yeah.
That's why they keep such strange hours, because like the whole show takes place at nighttime every single time, because obviously the characters can't be during the day.
Imagine filming that.
It has to be a nighttime shoot.
Imagine the practical filming hours of that.
I suppose it's only outdoor
Yeah.
that they have to do at nighttime, because the indoor they can do, you know, if it's on a sound stage or whatever. But the great aspect of the show is the secondary characters and people like Sean, who is just a regular human, but the guys really like. It's like, I love my Shawnee boy, you know, and they go over to his and like they'll help him out with some of the issues, or they'll go fishing with him, or like we have to be back by sunrise. We cannot stress that enough. We have to be back by sunrise. Other characters like the Baron and the Sire and the Guide.
That's the Baron, the Sire, and the dog, the
Hellhound.
The Hellhound.
Yeah.
That's a great, like...
You could nearly do a spin-off show with them.
A short film,
Yeah.
I think. Or a special episode with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Not-
because of the fact that it's only really the Baron that speaks.
Yeah.
He's the only humanoid vampire. The others are...
And he's like...
Monsters.
He's like a burnt-up torso as well, with one arm.
Depending on what season you see him in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a season where there's Doug Jones. It's
He's
great as well.
restored back to his original...
I say, sir. That's familiar.
Oh yeah, in the very first episode, he wakes up from the coffin and just immediately starts drinking some blood.
I like...
What would the show have been had that familiar also stayed around? Like there were two familiars. Because they never get a second familiar.
No.
Other than the Haley Joel Osment.
And that's just a call for the episode they're telling. Like,
Exactly,
It's episodic. That's it. There's no need to have someone else there. Like, and if they did bring someone else, it would only be temporary. Like...
But they never seek out another. They pretty much just it's even though Guillermo is Nandor's familiar, he's the house familiar, really.
And do you remember when they tried to introduce a new character, their friend who's just been in a slumber since like
Jerry. I thought Jerry was a one and done episode. I didn't think they were going to introduce
but he was around for a bit, and then Frank
he ran for one episode, and then at the end of the episode he was with the guys.
I thought he was with... Was he not? He was in more episodes.
He did appear in later episodes.
Yeah.
But in the house, He was in one episode.
Oh, I felt his presence was a bit longer. But then what about the monster as well they created?
They did, yeah. They introduced the monster.
Cravensworth monster.
Cravensworth monster. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But not Frankenstein.
What happened to him again? I forget. Again.
He became Robinson's monster. He developed a bit of a personality. And he just lives in the house with them now.
Right. Well, I suppose that's a character. But like, again, that's another poor human being that was killed.
Yeah, multiple human beings considering. Oh yeah, because they're going. They want to find the perfect head. So they go around in an Uber. They drive an Uber and they're picking up people and they're deciding, should we kill them for this guy's head?
Yeah.
Like they've no problem in then showing them killing that person.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely fine.
It's supposed to be funny. So just back to the sire and the Hellhound and the Baron, when they're all in their house and they're using it as like a B&B or an Airbnb. The sire opens the door and he's like disguised with an overthrow coat, and he's hanging on like a coat rack, and the sire's behind the door. And the people are about to come in because they're about to drain their blood. And you can see the sire jumping up and down going...
Yeah, excited. Like a excited puppy or something.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. I like the practical effects of some of these characters. Obviously with the Baron. But the sire, that's just someone in a costume. But that's a very good costume.
Yeah, it feels real. It feels like
from a distance. It's always from a distance in a wide shot, isn't it? Same with who else is similar. Like when a werewolf is transforming.
Yeah.
That's another thing as well. Yeah. How much are they gonna milk the property of how werewolves were in the show?
Yeah, they were an opposing force, not an antagonistic, but it generally comes with the lore of vampires versus werewolves.
One episode,
yeah.
Out of the whole show, they never returned to them, and I think that's ballsy. That's creatively, that creatively worked well.
They knew that the chemistry they have between the vampires is enough to carry the show. We don't need to have recurring villains.
Yeah.
Even the witches.
Yeah.
They have their witches for one episode.
Yeah.
You know, Nadja is always cursing witches and their hexes and stuff.
It's interesting to see what was established in the movie and how they brought them over to the show and how they didn't rely on them to grip audiences' attention. Even... And when you say recurring villains, I know we're sort of delving back and forth with Nadja and Laszlo to that of supporting characters, but I think this calls for us one of the most irritating characters who was a returning villain, Nick Kroll.
Yeah.
I didn't like him.
Did you not?
Not at all.
I thought...
And every time he introduced himself and he introduced like a hip character...
I thought that was funny.
No, I hate it. And then he would Count Rapula. I hated that as well. The only one time I thought it was funny was when Elvis walked into the room. And like Elvis is just a guest in the basement as well.
Because he's around, I think, maybe 3 times in total.
Yeah.
I think that the rug pull of the third time he's introduced, which is they do a full episode that is supposed to be a home improvement show that Laszlo has been watching for seasons.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden... they go in and they make this it's a full episode of like, you know, Room to Improve or Home Improvement or something, and they do up the whole house and they give you a full like budget of like, okay, we're going to do this to this room, we're going to open up all the windows, lots of light coming in, and Guillermo is obviously getting concerned because they're vampires, they can't have light, and they're all like, yeah, sounds great, you know, not realizing and all this, and then slowly over the course of the episode they realize we don't actually have the budget for this. But then at the end of the episode...
He always sways a positive as well, doesn't he? He's always like, okay, well, that's all right. Well, what we can do is we can do this, you know?
And then at the end of the episode, it's revealed that it's actually Nick Kroll's character, who was a character from previous seasons, who did this all just to gain access to Laszlo's closet because he wanted to steal a hat. A cursed hat.
Made of what skin? Witch's skin.
Yeah. And it's a brilliant, and anytime he doesn't come with just himself, but he has a crew of people, and it's a ridiculous, like you said, like, you know, one of them's Elvis, one of them's called Count Rapula.
He just introduces people with a certain name and they all walk in, stand there silent, and...
You remember my crew? Big Vlad, Vlad Glad the Exsanguinator,
Oh, these pricks.
Gunfrapple, Wesley Sykes, the Freak Sisters, Mr. 50s, Evil Steve, the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem.
Oh,
Hello there.
Freakfest Tony,
hi Tony, nice to see you again.
the silent one.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Just gonna keep it silent for now, thank you. He who shall not be named. But it's Greg. His name is Greg. That guy I still don't know. And of course, the king himself, Elvis.
I just
See, some of those jokes they start out funny, then they become irritating, then it comes back around to funny. And that's how that always felt to me. And it started out funny, I'm like, okay, ha ha ha. Then it goes, okay, getting a bit tired. And then it pulls like Elvis, and it's literally just like Elvis.
but
the man.
but Elvis was established to be a character in the room. They were all going down to the basement, and Elvis is just hanging around down there, like keeping to himself. Like, remember the one scene where I think was it Tilda Swinton was leading a council, and then a heap of vampires from other sources of media. They mentioned Brad and Johnny. Or was it Brad and Tom from Interview with a Vampire?
Yeah.
They mentioned
they've Blade on the
Wesley
thing.
Snipes. They had Danny Trejo there from Dusk Till Dawn. They said, "Is Robert able to make it?" No, he said, "Just leave me out of it. Don't like reference it." And then the three guys from the movie were there. That was it was a funny moment, but that's the standard and the extent I can take it to, seeing just a bunch of introductions of known vampires or at least vampire names. I have a limit at some points.
Yeah.
But most of it is all good and fun.
thing about the show as well, kind of as we were talking there about secondary characters, there is a lot of guest stars throughout the whole show. There are like we said there, right? There's the three main characters from the movie, played by
Taika Waititi, Jemaine Clement, and the third guy.
and the other guy, I can't think of his name, but that is led by it's Jonathan Brew. I have the list here now in front of me. But also, like, included in that is Paul Rubens, Danny Trejo, Evan Rachel Wood, Wesley Snipes, and then like over the course of the show, like people will just randomly pop up, like random celebrities playing other vampires, like Mark Hamill. There is
Benedict Wong,
Haley Joel Osment. There is Sophia Coppola and Jim Jarmusch. There's Fred Armisen. There's Nick Kroll. There was...
Do you know who I liked?
Doug Jones?
No. Oh, he was more present than others.
Yeah.
Do you know who I liked? Drawing a blank on his name. Played Tony Stark's father.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of his name.
He played himself.
Yeah.
As a Uber driver of sorts.
Can't think of his name. But, yeah, no, I agree. Other ones like Craig Robinson, David Cross, Dave Bautista.
I love that.
There's just there's so many times where just a random character... Do you remember in one of the episodes, Alexander Skarsgård is there? Doesn't say a word. Just literally like puts his hand up and then puts his hand back down.
Yes!
It's like
yes,
the whole show.
Yes.
Like,
oh my god, I forgot about that. It was the episode where Cravensworth Monster killed Sean.
Yeah.
And then what was the Baron doing?
Killed Jerry, yeah.
Yeah. And so I said Sean, sorry, Jerry. that was a great progress thing to see. And then the Baron's trying to establish his dominance, and it says, "Does anyone have a question?" And someone who put a hand up, the Cravensworth Monster killed the vampire, and then you see Skarsgård putting his hand down. That is great. That's so great. I think I forgot about that because when you reminded me, do you know where my mind went to when it came to Skarsgård?
Probably Bill Skarsgård and Nosferatu.
No. Skarsgård doing a cameo. Atlanta.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Now where are these little hands?
He does tend to pop up all right.
He was in Succession as well.
Yeah, he did a pretty prominent role in Succession compared to.
But like, I tell you, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I forgot about that. It was just such a quick throwaway joke. Oh, it's funny.
The other member of the house then that we haven't really mentioned.
I think we've not mentioned him for a reason.
I think he is. It's probably one of the most creative things that the show did that wasn't in the movie.
Yes, I have to agree with that. It is the most creative aspect, like, because you gotta fill slots, right? Mm-hmm. You just needed another character, and how can you do it without making him similar? Mm-hmm. How do you make him stand out? And by God, he stands out.
Yeah, and that would be Colin Robinson, who is an energy vampire, and I think that the first episode, his introduction in the first episode is brilliant, where he explains what an energy vampire is.
Yeah.
He's like, we're actually the most common form of vampire. You probably know one. And it's someone that just takes all the energy out of you. And it like has him walking around the office, just like with a mug. And he's just giving like, oh, some weather out there, right? And just like draining people of their energy. Like I had to go to the DMV and fill out this form. And then I had to go fill out this one. And just boring people to fall asleep and draining their energy.
He's a historian.
Yeah.
He's just full of knowledge to just draw on.
Useless knowledge to just bore you to death,
and
basically.
just dawn on you all this information, and like you can't even find the energy to just tell him to go away. I really like Colin Robinson for a boring character, for an obnoxious, annoying character.
It's a character that is literally designed to be annoying, to annoy the audience and the characters within the scene, to be boring, annoying, that you don't want there, but yet still I enjoy watching him. And I think the first time around when I watched this, because I watched this show twice now.
Yeah.
The first time around, I did fall into the trappings of, oh, this is just annoying now. I don't actually like him. But watching it the second time, I was like, no, I fully get it now, and it's supposed to be this way, and I enjoyed him a lot more.
So that's before the lead up where they did a massive change in his arc.
When they did the massive change, I liked that they took a swing and did that because even though that character is boring and annoying, even that act as a character can become boring. So much so that like people just don't enjoy watching those scenes. So what they do is, as Colin Robinson reaches his 100th birthday, he dies. But from his body comes out a new baby Colin Robinson.
Yeah.
And so over the course of the following season then, that Colin Robinson grows up, and like each episode he's kind of like he starts out as a baby, then the next episode he's a toddler, then the next one he's a 6-year-old, the next one 10, and he slowly ages up.
It's a great deep fake.
It's brilliant because what they do is they just have like a toddler, but then a 40-year-old man's face on the toddler's body, and he still does the energy vampire things, but from a different aspect of like a child. He's like, hey Laszlo, guess what? And he's like, what? Did you know that in Roblox you can actually get this? And like it's just the kid version of the energy vampire. And like Laszlo's like, you don't need to say guess what every time you say something. Hey Laszlo, guess what? I just do that to annoy you. Like, it was a really big swing to take of completely changing the character. And then by the end of that season, you're happy to see him become Colin Robinson again, like the original version.
It's interesting because when it was leading up to his death, which was revealed in the finale of the third season, wasn't it? Yeah, third season.
And it's by Laszlo.
Laszlo.
Over the course of the season, Laszlo and Colin Robinson become friendlier, and Laszlo does a lot of things with Colin Robinson that he wouldn't normally do. And then in the finale, it's revealed he was like, yeah, while we were searching for the origins of the energy vampire, I found a book that said he will only live to his 100th birthday. So he wanted to give him, a good last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I think that really stands to Laszlo as a character, is that he will help out other people a lot. Like he helps Guillermo as well. And he does that for Colin Robinson when he doesn't need to at all. He could just be a dickhead. And in any other show, he would be a dickhead.
Yeah.
So.
And then, so I kind of felt like, oh, he's dying because he's getting old and he's dying in bed. And then when he did die, and then in comes Nandor, he's fine. He just slaps him and his fucking head just...
Oh, his head caves in, yeah. He just like slaps him in the face and his head caves in.
And then Laszlo stayed in the house to raise the child while everyone went off into her own adventures, forcing Guillermo Gizmo to go with Naja. Mm-hmm. But then at the end of season 4, when Colin Robinson has grown up to the teenager and is, the clothes he's wearing doesn't fit him anymore, and he's angsting out, and he discovers a few things in his bedroom, and he finds this like hidden area where the clues of the older Robinson has left to
how to get back to that state.
And like what it's like, I feel like there were some reveals in that little place in his little...
Was there?
Yeah, like some reveals that, we as an audience can appreciate knowing, but...
I don't remember anything like that.
I don't know. I just remember thinking that the characters may not know, but we as an audience do. And that's double down on the fact that in comes Colin Robinson as if, then just back to normal. His whole...
Has no memory of the previous year.
Yeah.
Growing up.
And Laszlo's just torn apart by that.
Yeah.
Like,
because he sees him as his son in a way.
Yeah.
Like he's raised him for the better part of a year.
And any time it's been slightly mentioned about how Laszlo raised Colin Robinson is going like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And like, we know that is something that is lingering in Laszlo's mind. It's a closed off story in the show, but it still lingers in the character. Mm-hmm. Like he mentioned that to Colin again. Mm-hmm. Like, but he doesn't know it, and it feels lived in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like there's a consistency, even though each episode is independent of each other.
Yes.
There is a consistency throughout the show.
Yeah.
That the consequences of previous things are relevant, to the next episode, the following episode.
Yeah. And I enjoyed seeing Colin Robinson come back. Now, I think what I despise of him the most is when he saw himself in a position of power or in an advantageous position, and he'll just gloat about it. Like, remember when they lock Gizmo in the cage and they all come in and now the prisoner will remain in the center of the stage, or he will receive punishment as per order of this electric shock. And I just like it when he gets shocked himself. Yeah, good on you.
I hated when he got too confident and he started to like grow hair.
Yeah.
And he got too powerful. He got a promotion in work, and he was able to drain too much energy.
Yeah.
And so he what did he do? Oh yeah, he became too powerful that he split off into two more Colin Robinsons.
Oh my god.
And the three of them drained each other so much that they all died.
Yeah, he was a good character in the end of it all. Did we touch on we did briefly touch on the Nadja doll. I liked her little episode where she's jumping from vessel to vessel.
Yeah.
The soul of Nadja.
So they have throughout the show as well Nadja's doll, which is just a regular doll, and it's inhabited by the spirit of Nadja before she turned into a vampire.
Yeah, that text always comes up every time the character talks.
Spirit, when they do the piece to camera, it's like Nadja's doll inhabited, or I think it's like Dolly inhabited by the spirit of Nadja's human spirit.
I like the mechanics of the doll, the facial expressions, and the it's obviously Nadja's voice, but it's like coming from a suppressed vocal cord.
Yeah, it's got a slight little like tinny filter or something, like as if you had a like if you when you did like the can with the string on it.
Yeah.
Imagine like if you put that to your ear, and that's how you can hear every word.
Yeah.
There's no muffled or anything like that, but it just sounds tinny.
I like. There was this one episode where the soul was just jumping from vessel to vessel.
Yeah.
Like, it was good. It was a statue. It was a mannequin. It was a balloon. Like it was a good episode. I liked that. What other characters were in the show that were?
The Guide. What do you think about The Guide?
The Guide. Yeah, I think how can I set this up as a joke where are we forgetting anyone else? And you can say I don't know. Oh, The Guide.
The Guide.
I liked The Guide. I liked her. There are some episodes where it would try to showcase how she's unappreciated.
Yeah.
Like if you unappreciate Colin Robinson or Guillermo, The Guide is a next level. Mm-hmm. And then there was one episode, I remember liking this episode. I think I was eating a good Chinese takeaway. And it was when the Guide was kidnapping everyone one by one.
That's when Nandor finds out about Guillermo having been turned into a vampire.
Yeah.
The same episode.
I liked that episode. I don't know, like Laszlo was fencing off with someone, and I don't know, he got captured somehow. Nadja got captured somehow, and who got caught in a net and dragged away. And I liked The Guide. And it didn't really do anything for her in the end because they all still don't appreciate her. Like, what are we going to do about Jerry? Oh, ship her off with The Guide and leave her at that. She was a good character. She was always one who would try to self-include.
Yeah, the gang never included her. Yeah, but she always went to the gang, and I think that it's good that she. I like the fact that in later seasons she got added to the credits. Yeah, like she became a named.
Yes, I do like that, but only in the episodes she was in though.
Yeah, she was not in every episode, even though like say 10 episodes a season, she'd appear in 4.
Oh God, no more. I think it'd be more.
Depends on the season.
Yeah, I would say 6 or 7 out of 10.
Maybe in season 3 and 4, but it's season 5 and 6. I'd say it's lesser.
Yeah.
So
well, would it be?
depend. I think having watched it just there,
it would be
lesser.
very rare to have an episode dedicated to her, and if you would have if you would have that, everyone else is still present.
Yeah, she's definitely a supporting character through and through.
Yeah. You never get her standalone story. You know, we get to know everyone else, but bar her really. But like, I still liked her. I liked her for what she did and what role she played. It was all very good.
I think the biggest compliment I can give to all of the characters as well is that you could put them in any combination and you're going to get a good story. That they all play well off each other.
And that is why I harken back to the fact, David, if you appoint me any 3 random episodes to watch and then watch the movie, which is better? It's the show. It's any 3 random episodes.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It's amazing to think that you could look at the show, this is just a rip-off gimmick that's just going to cash in. You could not be any more wrong. So it was good. So I watched the ending before you. I caught up. You held back. Now you've watched it. What do you think?
I think the whole final season is too long. I think that it felt like the whole story with Guillermo in the office job. I was like, I don't care about this at all. The last 2 episodes.
Which did you dislike more? That or the nightclub?
I love the nightclub.
I thought
the nightclub's my favorite.
I thought you said you didn't like it.
No,
you must have changed.
I must in my rewatch there. The nightclub season is my favorite arc.
Really?
Of the whole show.
I thought I recall you saying the opposite.
Okay, maybe I changed. I don't remember disliking it ever, but no, I think that I like the last 2 episodes of this season a lot, but I think the last episode does a lot to like wrap it all up in that, you know, it's just the documentary that's ending. Yeah. We're all still going to be here. You know, they're saying to Guillermo, it's like, it doesn't have to have a big ending. Like, you know, the camera's going to go away, but we're still here tomorrow, you know. And I think they even make a joke about how, you guys are ending now. I probably would have ended it last season when Guillermo became a vampire. Yeah. You know, like they are meta about it as well.
The final episode was very meta. Self-acknowledgement. And then throwing in a few jokes as well. Nandor and Guillermo waking up in bed. And that's obviously a callback to a sitcom from the 80s, I think.
Yeah, I don't know it now, to be honest. But yeah, they wanted the perfect ending. Yeah. You know, he hypnotizes the viewers at home. Like, you will now see the perfect ending. Yeah. And then they get like a classic 80s sitcom ending.
Yeah. And there's a few. God damn it! I don't know if you watched this. I think you'll have to look it up after. There was this like bonus scene.
I didn't see this. No.
It's one of the optional endings that Naja hypnotizes you.
Okay, I didn't see this at all.
What can I tell you about it? Because I want you to be surprised, but
don't say anything then.
But I need to say something for the record.
Just say that there is an extra bonus scene.
I think there's 1 or 2, but there's one where it's literally just a scene. And it's obviously taking homage / ripping the piss off a classic movie with a twist at the end.
Okay.
And in that scene, I think you see every character from the show.
Nice. Okay.
Except for Nandor and Guillermo, because they're in that other
They're
scene.
in the other one. Okay.
So I think it was on Disney Plus. So
we'll watch it now when this is over.
Yeah, it's just one scene, and like it's funny. For the record, if you know what we're talking about, great. If not, it's the one where it's in a police station.
Okay.
I've had a busy few weeks, Davis, so you're gonna have to recollect me. How did the show directly end?
Guillermo puts Nandor to bed in his coffin, and then he gives a speech about how it's time for him to end, and he has to go, and they'll always be friends and all this, and then it ends. And then he comes back in and he goes, no, I was just giving an ending for the cameras. I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
And then he gets into the coffin with them, and they go and they go on to go be essentially Batman and Robin, and they're going to become crime fighters and use his vampire powers for good.
Yeah.
Which is like
it's fine.
Yeah.
There's no one. We talked about the Umbrella Academy. Go back and listen to that episode. We didn't really care so much about how that show would have ended.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have ended it better, but it's not about the plot.
It's about the characters.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think with it, when it comes to sitcoms as well, it can be hard to end a sitcom. And I think that they handled the finale perfectly, where Guillermo wants it to be this big emotional thing.
Yeah.
But the rest of the characters are all just like, no, it'll just end and we'll still be here. Like, they're treating themselves as, you know,
Lived in characters
that are still gonna be here. It's like, oh, we did a similar documentary like 100 years ago. And they're like, what? And they sit down to watch, and it's literally the joke of like, house meeting, just on cleanliness, and they're bringing up the same argument that they've had now 3 or 4 different times.
Yeah.
He just has a callback to the pilot episode.
Yeah.
Which is very good. But like, you know, it could have ended. It ended how it did. It could have ended earlier on in the episode where they all stand around singing at the piano. We'll meet again.
Yeah.
You know, they could have had any number of endings. So, you know, I'm satisfied with how it ended. It's a complete journey. It wasn't just cancelled or anything like that. It's very much a narrative conclusion as well to end the documentary. You know, in air quotes, that they got the footage. They're happy to go ahead, and that these characters are still having their adventures. It's just we're not seeing them anymore.
Yeah. I think that me scratching my neck would indicate that's us to end this
That
episode.
you're ready to become a vampire.
Me? No. Scratching is like, listen to it.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Talking Pictures. And thank you, the listener at home, for listening to this episode. Like I said at the top of the show, we've new episodes every single Wednesday, as well as bonus episodes every other weekend. So make sure you're subscribed to us on your favourite podcasting app of choice. You can follow us on all of our social medias. They're down in the links below. If you have any suggestions for bonus episodes or any movies or TV shows you'd like us to cover, make sure to send them in to talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com, or you can comment on any of our social posts or videos on YouTube, anything like that. Just send a comment and we'll have a look at it. We look at them. We're pretty good about looking at that kind of stuff.
You look tired,
we'll see it. Yeah, I'm pretty tired now because I feel as though the last 3 weeks of podcasting we've done in these last 3 hours.
There's no storm.
There's no storm. The storm has ended. It's the calm after the storm now. We've made it to the end. Brian, any final words?
There was one scene that I just really like. I haven't watched it, but like in preparation of this, I watched it. Mm-hmm. It was when Naja and Laszlo were out for an evening stroll.
Out for an evening stroll, my darling.
And when they fit in, to blend in the disguise, they wear their dressy clothes from the
Victorian era.
Yeah, Victorian era. It immediately cut to them in the street. Good evening, as he tips his hat, and then the guy walking by says, "Fuck off back to 18th century" or something like that.
Go back to your own country.
Yeah.
What the fuck did he just say?
What the fuck? And he was actually genuinely insulted by that.
And by consequence, goes and kills him.
Yeah.
Good evening. Go back to your own country. What the fuck did you just say?